on the lift. We've got a ton of things to cover, and we're going to, whoops, I got to switch something here. Hold on just a minute, everybody. Sorry. Sorry. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
All right, good. All right. Wait a minute. We're going to start with Shout from the Summit. Who's got good news to share? Something great in your business, great in your life, maybe something nice to say about somebody else on the call or not on the call. Who wants to go first? Chance, how you doing? Who wants to go first? Jeff, did you take yourself off mute?
I did, yeah. I just want to give a big shout out to Savannah. We just got back a week ago from 3 weeks of vacation. I had a fantastic time and did not worry about the business one bit. We were able to do the work we needed to do, and she kept things afloat while we were going. So having a great
That is
admin
awesome.
is a huge piece of the business. Thanks, Savannah.
Somebody once said to me, Jeff, that um, you can either have a job or you can have a business. And the way you know that you've moved from job to business is you can sit on the beach if you have a business, but you can't do that if you have a job. So kudos to you and kudos to Savannah. By the way, I see Savannah everywhere. Every time I turn on YouTube, she's being interviewed by somebody else about leverage and being young and successful. So that's pretty exciting. Who else has something great to share?
I do. First,
Go ahead, Leslie.
I want to give a shout out to Ryan Richards, who you're going to hear from in just a little bit. Ryan is a very calming influence, number one. Number two, he is a phenomenal real estate. And number three, he's a really good team leader who cares. Just if you guys ever need anything, lean on Ryan. Not all the way, but just a little bit, because he's got a lot of really, really great information to share. And then personally, and I don't know how I'm going to deal with life here. My daughter just earned a roster spot on Team Colorado, which is Tier 1 AAA hockey. And it is really exciting and terrifying all at the same time. She's worked really hard, and I'm really proud of her.
That's incredible and such great news. And watching you as a hockey mom, I'm used to soccer moms, and but I think hockey moms are an entirely different breed. So good job, mom.
Yeah, we are. We're lunatics. So just so you know.
Hey,
In the
speaking
best
of
way.
Leslie, happy birthday, Leslie.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
We're not singing, but happy birthday. All right. We've got some announcements I'd like to share. Monthly team meeting next week, 10 a.m. Zoom, Frisco, Edwards. We've got an accountability group happening. It's on the calendar. You can find it. I'm not going to go into details on it. Productivity coaching with Katie is every Tuesday. Contracts with Rod every Wednesday. And we've got a number of other announcements that I'd like to share. One is this. In an effort to reduce email noise, and I think you all know what I mean by email noise. Like if your inbox looks like my inbox. I was in Puerto Rico for a day, for a few days, and one day I just put my phone down and I didn't open it. And when I picked it up in the evening, I had 400 emails, and it's ridiculous. So in an effort to reduce email noise, we're rolling out a new communication. We're calling it Basecamp. It's going to arrive in your inbox on Fridays around 9 a.m. And it's got all the stuff in it. So we want to create a cadence where if you're looking for that thing that we talked about, or that tool that we described, or that vendor whose phone number you can't remember, you'll start checking your emails on Fridays at 9 for Basecamp. More details coming soon about that. In there, though, you're going to see that we've created a link tree for you. And if you're not familiar with the concept of link tree, it's just one mobile friendly place where you can find all the things. And if you read some of our emails, sometimes I look at them and I think, gosh, we've got so many clicks, So instead of having tons of clicks, we're going to give you a reminder to download our link tree, and everything's in there. So this link tree has recordings of trainings that we've done. It has calendars that you might want access to. It has contact information for leadership. It has tools and all sorts of things on it. And it's one set of links. You can put it on your home screen on your cell phone. You can even share it. If you want to, if you want it to be texted to you, just reach out to me or to Ryan or Leslie, and we'll do so. May is Cares Month. And Cares Month is a special focused month for KW Cares. As you all know, KW Cares is our company-wide employee hardship fund. And every May, in honor of former CEO Mo Anderson, we do Cares Month. The goal this year is to raise $350,000. The way we're going to do it is every market center is running a campaign, and each market center's goal is to raise $890 because Mo Anderson later this month is going to celebrate her 89th birthday. The QR code at the top right is for Mountain Properties, and the bottom right is for Top of the Rockies. We're over halfway to the 890 goal in both market centers, and we just started the month 4 days ago. If you're feeling extra generous, donate $5 or $10 or $50 or $890. And remember this. There was an agent in Pueblo who a couple months ago got sick with cancer, stage 4 cancer, very serious situation, filled out a form for KW Cares, and KW Cares within 10 days provided a grant that helped him and his family during a really serious time of need. I know people on this call have received funds from KW Cares. KW Cares is considered one of the best corporate employee hardship funds. One of the reasons for that is we're extremely generous with it. You can receive grants as much as I believe $30,000, and that's significant. And here's the thing: anybody at KW can receive a grant. You don't have to be licensed. It works for assistants and non-licensed people as well. And if you have a need, reach out to your team leader, and please consider giving to KW Cares this month. Today on our call, we're going to talk to Ryan Richards about his database-based business, and serendipitously, starting today and running for 3 days in a row, Candace Young and Crystal Leproan from the regional tech trainer team, they're going to be doing a 3-day deep dive into all things KW Command. And I want to encourage you, especially if you have a predisposition to believing that KW Command can't run your business, I want you to consider jumping on 3 90-minute sessions. They will be recorded. Learn the basics of Command, how to use it, how the integration with Canva works, how your app and your website work, all of the things KW Command. It is actually quite a powerful tool, and that starts today at noon. Did I get that time right? That starts today at 11, 11 Mountain Time. We've got other KW Command, we've got other tech training on the calendar. Don't miss it. I'm running a weekly series called the Mile High Market Brief. It's every Monday at 12 noon. If you want to know what's going on in the industry, what's going on in local real estate, join me, milehighmarketbrief.com, Mondays at noon. I'm doing this with Charles, our regional tech trainer. Hey, we've got Red Day next week on Thursday. Top of the Rockies, we're going to be meeting at Dillon City Market 3 to 5:30. Village Market for Mountain Properties. We're going to be doing a food drive and collecting food for people in need in the Central Rockies. Couple regional things. There's an AI class on June 11th in Denver, 9 to 3. And then in our own neck of the woods, we're doing an AI workshop with Lauren Lucas, and she's going to be talking about two strategies. And it's not going to be just a presentation, it's going to be a workshop. We're going to do things together. We're going to talk about AI lead gen and AI for efficiency and automation. You will get a pre-work worksheet to make sure that you have all the correct apps on your phone and on your computer. This will be a working 3-hour meeting. All are invited. It's at the Altitude Board of Realtors in Silverthorne. That is June 12th. KW Luxury is doing the June in-person speaker series in Aspen. I'm attending. If you want more information about that, shoot me a text or an email, and I'd love to talk to you about that. Hope you can make it. Okay, some recognition. Vail top producers, Adam Blees, 2.7 million. Great job, Adam. Will, 975,000. Great job, Will. Daniela, 675. Great job, Daniela. First Summit, top producers. Oops. We made a mistake with Desiree's photo. Number 3 was Desiree at 1.4 million, Tony almost 2 million, and Dan Derman 4.6 million. Great job, top producers. And we have some Summit top producers as well. The Thompson Group was in our third spot at 3.5. The Skinner team at 3.9 took number 2, and June's team closed a whopping 7 million and change in the month of April. So check the mutes for me. All right. Today we're interviewing Ryan Richards, and most of you know Ryan. He's our team leader in Vail. Some of you probably don't know that he is also an agent active in the business. Ryan, can you start off by giving us your background, how long you've been in real estate, what you did before real estate, and go from there?
Yeah, great question, Russ. And I hope that we just all of us learn today from each other in this conversation, and let's dive in. So I started out, Russ, in real estate sales in January of 2022. And it was a divine appointment on how I even got into this business to begin with. And it's a long conversation beyond the scope of the time we have today. But needless to say, I came into the business. And before that, I had spent 20 years as a fitness professional, and I had built a personal training brand for 20 years. And then in 2015, when my personal training business was at its peak, my wife at the time, Nancy, and I decided to open up Vail's first and only hostel. We own a 48-bed hostel in Minturn. And the reason behind that is because I recognized that in order to succeed in life, we have to use leverage. And we talk a lot about this in real estate. And selling my time by the hour as a fitness trainer was not an efficient way to utilize my time to build the life that I wanted. So when we created the bunkhouse, it was a way to create a business that could make money without us constantly nurturing and being in the business every day. And that really interested me when I came into selling real estate, because it's the same model. We can utilize people that we know in our sphere of influence to help service them with real estate. And in the same way that how a hotel works or a restaurant works, we can use leverage to build an exceptional business. And then coming into real estate in January of 2022, and I've closed, I haven't really kept track of it, but probably close to $50 million. And since then, November of 2024, so coming up on 2 years, I've been the team leader here at Mountain Properties.
So when you and I were prepping for today, we were talking about, we had kind of a conversation around different strategies of lead gen and the fact that great agents figure out what lead gen strategy works for them, and then they go dig deep on that or dive deep on that strategy, and they work it for everything that it's got. And you shared with me that your um, main lead gen strategy is a database.
That's right. Not only is it a database, but it's really, to take it just one step back, it's really sphere of influence. And it actually
Mhm.
amazes me when I look at the transactions I've been able to successfully get to the closing table. They haven't cost me much money. Like when Gary Keller talks about cost of sales, and correct me if I'm wrong, but generally he talks about, I believe it's 40%. It's around there. My business doesn't near My business cost me maybe 10% of sales. And the reason that
Right.
is because um I'm very thoughtful and very strategic about where I spend my time and how I
Mhm.
nurture those clients. And it all comes from my database. I don't, I don't have a very big social media presence. I'm um I'm not hosting open houses. I'm not
Mhm.
knocking on people's doors. I merely have a system through command where I make certain that I keep track of who I'm having conversations with, and I make sure that those conversations count. And all of this, for the agents here today, this is really important. You don't need a sophisticated system to generate business. You just have to be mindful, and you have to be strategic with the relationships that you have, and you need to nurture them on a daily basis.
Yeah. So, Ryan, you made a distinction between database and SOI, sphere of influence. Some people use those words interchangeably. I think what you mean when you say sphere of influence is that the database to you is not just names collected in some sort of tech tool, but it's actually people who you know and they know you, and you've got um like they're relatively close to you as opposed to just a collection of names and email addresses.
That's right.
Yeah.
And with that being said, Russ, despite those people being close to me, I do use a system in a monthly smart plan through command to stay
Yeah.
in touch with them. But that's not the only way I stay in touch with them. What I do,
Before we
yeah,
get there, can you I thought it might be helpful to kind of frame our discussion around what Gary calls the four laws of database. He says law one is build a database. So I know from looking at command and from knowing agents, having coached them for about 30 years, um, I know that most agents don't have a sphere of influence that they're actually working. They don't have a database. When you first got into Keller Williams, when you first got into real estate, what were the first steps you took to go build a database? Because that's law number one. You got to build a database. What did that look like for you in those early days?
yeah. So what I did right away, when I talked to people in my sphere of influence, people that were fitness students of mine, business associates through when I started the bunkhouse, friends, people that I skied with, I made it known to them that I had transitioned my business into selling real estate. And I let them know because I believed it, and I still believe it to this day. I let them know that it was the best decision I ever made. And I sent out a mass text through the people that I had in my phone and let them know this. And I also uploaded them into Command so I could keep track of them. And I made it a personal mission to make certain that I was going to have multiple conversations per week. And early on, I wasn't as organized, but I made certain to let people know, And when people learned of that, they would then ask questions out of curiosity, and it started to create conversations around real estate.
Yeah. So so you started by letting people know the transition that you've made, and
Mhm.
everybody, almost, I think probably everybody, I'm looking at the names, but almost everybody on here, you used to do something and now you do real estate. For me, I went from teaching freshman physics at a private school to being in real estate. And step one, build a database. Call all those people and say, "Hi, it's Russ Nolting. I'm your son's favorite physics teacher. Now I'd like to be your favorite real estate advisor. May I have permission to keep in touch with you regarding real estate?" And boom, that's how we start this. You put these people's names into KW Command.
That's right. Yep. I put them into
Now,
command and just started having conversations. And I know we talk a lot about Ford, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't need to be some set standard. But what I will tell you, what I don't do when I have conversations with people is talk about real estate. I do
right.
not talk about real estate. It ultimately comes up because people know that I'm a real estate professional and they know that I am transacting in that world. Naturally, 100% of the time, people will ask me how the market's going. And then it starts to lead into real estate conversations. But I never approach, this is really important. I never approach my conversations to generate business. I always start my conversations with offering service. And there's a big distinction there. I I'm asking people how their life is going, how their winter was, what their plans are this summer, how their family is, how their business is, which ties into this whole Ford conversation. But remember this, when we make service our number one priority, and when we come to people with a servant heart, it builds trust and authenticity. So the conversations, they naturally evolve into real estate. I'll just share a quick story about this. I was going through command last May, and there was a specific woman that used to be a fitness student of mine, and I hadn't met with her in maybe a couple of months. And I said, "Nancy, it's been too long. Let's grab coffee." We grabbed coffee. At the end of the conversation, there was a gentleman sitting next to us. He goes, "I don't mean to eavesdrop. I have been listening to you for the last hour and I would like to hire you. I've never met anyone who has talked transparently and raw and authentically about really what's going on in the real estate market. And I would like to hire you."
Mhm. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, when you get in front of people that are in your database, you have to have a database. And when you get in front of them and you start having conversations, it leads to other conversations.
Yeah.
As an example.
Ryan, some people have, so we can see on the leadership end of KW, we can see how many people you have in your command database. We don't know who they are, but we have a number. And I know that there are people on this call that have 7,000 people in their database. And I don't know who, but I just know from looking at the numbers. There are healthy databases and there are less healthy databases. Ryan, your health score, I think, is 85%, and you
Mhm.
got about 600 people in there. What does it mean that you have a healthy database? Like, what types of information do you have about your people?
Yeah. It's funny. Travis Cox and I were talking about this yesterday, and he's somebody else, he's someone that I've learned so much about real estate business from. I think Travis is one of the smarter people I've ever met. And he's also really, like, his business is built on his database. And oh, Travis is always there to help. Call Travis if you ever need something. He's a great resource. And we were talking about this very thing with the health score. The average agent in KW with their command health score, it's around 52%. I spend about an hour a day going through command and updating it. And how you get a healthy score is, especially in our mountain communities, because and I don't know about Summit County, but I'm assuming it's similar. Most primary addresses, 90% of our primary addresses in the mountain community, they don't receive mail. They have a mailing address and they have a primary physical address.
Right.
So I make certain in my database, I have four things. I have, of course, their name, but their phone number, their email contact, their primary address, and their mailing address. And the reason that's so important, Russ, is because what I have in that database is everyone is tagged based on the neighborhood that they live in. And Command will pull up based on their primary address the neighborhood and then pull data from the MLS in that specific neighborhood. And then combined with their mailing address and their primary address, I can keep track of who lives where and what's going on in that market and tag them specifically in Command so that I know when I'm having conversations with a specific person, if I'm out to dinner with them, having coffee with them, if I'm out skiing with them, whatever it may be, I know where they live. I know what's going on in that market. And I make certain anytime I'm meeting with somebody to do my homework and understand what's going on in the market within their neighborhood in case that
Yeah.
conversation comes up. So, at minimum, you want to have their primary address, mailing address, email, and phone number in your database, and that will get your health score up.
So law one of the database is build one, put it in Command, or use a different tool if you want to pay extra. Um, and everybody goes in there. Law two is feed it daily. And when Gary Keller says feed your database daily, what he means for feed it is not communicate with it. He means you're adding names to it constantly. And to Ryan's point just a moment ago, you're making sure that the data is accurate. So, Ryan, when it comes to feeding, how are you actively adding names daily? Like, what are you doing to grow the size of the database?
Okay. So years ago, I worked for the Ritz-Carlton. I was a fitness trainer there for years, among other things. And one of the things that I learned working for such a prestigious brand, one of the best companies in the world, absolutely phenomenal. And I learned a lot working at the Ritz-Carlton. And one of the things that they taught us there is to have this mindset of mystique. And what that really means is it's a mysterious way to serve people and give them hospitality without letting them know that you're giving them hospitality. So one of the strategies that I use, I've been here for 23 years in Eagle County, and there are people that I've lost touch with, but there are people that I had good relationships with. One of the ways that I feed my database, Russ, is I'll use tools like CPR through our MLS. Some of the MLSs have Remind, but I don't know if all MLSs have these tools. But you can go into Remind, or I believe it's CPR now. The Vail board just changed companies, and you can create an octagon around a specific neighborhood. For example, we can go into Singletree and pull 900 property records and export them
Mhm.
into a CSV file. And what
Yeah,
I'll do an hour a day is I'll pick neighborhoods and I'll upload a file and I'm like, you know what? I used to work with them at the Ritz-Carlton, or I used to coach their kids in ski racing, and it'll have their mailing address, their physical address. Sometimes it'll have an email or phone number, and if it doesn't, I'll just use Forewarn or White Pages and find their contact information, and now I have it. And because I know who they are and what they value in life because they're people that I know, I can start dripping on them without having to call them or reach out to them and say, hey, by the way, can I have your mailing address?
right,
Right?
right. Got it. So you're actively feeding the address daily. Some people, Ryan, they don't have 23 years of time in their location. They don't have multiple previous jobs where they were interacting with people. Like, what do you say to the person who says, I just don't know enough people and I'm not meeting enough people? Like, what do they do?
Yeah. What you do, very, very, and remember this, we talk a lot about this, and this is a big part of our culture is the 80-20, right? 80% of our success comes from 20% of our results. Just because something is simple doesn't mean it's easy. And I think we all need to accept that in life, right? So what you need to be doing, as simple as it is, you've got to meet people. You have to find your tribe.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that I have met, that I have developed really deep, meaningful relationships with, have come through my passion for skiing and fitness. And so whatever it is your thing, or motor racing's a big part of my life. That was how I got into the real estate business to begin with. I met a guy, Mark Wingirter, who owns Ronan Real Estate Professionals, a brokerage in Grand Junction. I met him at a car race. He was racing his car. And he's like, you should be a realtor. And he tried to recruit me to move to Grand Junction. That's what got me into the business, by making connections through common passions, hobbies, and things that make us tick. So if you haven't lived in Summit County for 23 years, or Vail, and lived here for a multiple number of years, and you need to add people to your database, you have to get involved. What is the thing that really, really makes you tick? Is it church? Is it serving other people? Is it snowshoeing, skiing, biking? There are
Right.
so many different ways to make connections, but you have to get into the community, and you have to start making authentic relationships with people, and recognizing that this is a long marathon. This isn't a sprint. It's nurturing relationships. For example, I've always been into self-growth and personal development, and I went years ago in the fall of 21, I had joined this men's group. And within 8 weeks, one of the men in the group like, hey, we need to have coffee. We need to talk about some deeper things in life. And we became friends because he learned as an adult to become a skier, and he wanted to be like, his goal in life was to be an expert skier. And somebody had told him, I can hire you to coach me. And I'm like, you can't hire me, but I'm happy to go ski with you.
Yeah.
A year later, Russ, he's like, hey, I want to sell my home and I'd like to hire you. And that one relationship turned into 6 transactions in
Yeah.
2023, and turned into 3 transactions in 2025. And right now is turning into 2 transactions in June, from one relationship, ladies and gentlemen, one relationship, from just getting involved in a group. So it's really important to find your tribe by leaning into your hobbies and passions.
Yeah. The reality is this is you don't have to be an extrovert to be a great realtor. There are tons of great realtors who are introverts, but those introverts have to be purposeful about their relationships. One of the first agents that joined Keller Williams, her name is Althea Osborne. She's out of the Austin. She lives in Dallas now, but she's one of the first people that joined us. Althea is in her 90s, I think, or very late 80s. She is still active in real estate. I saw her about a month ago at a meeting in Austin. Her entire business is based on 15 people. And the thing about the 15 people is, on average, the 15 people refer her 5 pieces of business a year. In other words, she doesn't have 600 people in her database like Ryan. She has 15 people who she can count on to get 5 referrals from. She closes she has for many years closed on average 75 deals a year. with 15 strong relationships. So there's lots of ways to do this. Um, Law one of the database was have one. Law two of the database is feed it daily, meaning add people to it. Law three of the database, Ryan, is systematically communicate with the database. How are you doing that?
Yeah. So, and I got this from Scott Maloof a couple of years ago, I think. This idea of 51st dates. And I was already doing something like that, but I make it a priority, even with recruitment, with trying to grow our market center, is to be every Sunday afternoon before the week starts, I plan my week and I look at my database and I go through and I say, who do I need to have coffee with this week? Who do I need to have lunch with this week? Who do I need to have dinner with this week? I make it a regular habit to meet with 3 people a week that are past clients, potential future clients, people that I'm nurturing, buyers that I currently have that I'm working with, people who are under contract, or people that I need to deepen my relationship with. And here's the thing, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to have big resources to do this. I try to do a dinner every Thursday night, but I get it, it can be expensive.
Yep.
Have coffee or lunch. It's not expensive to go buy somebody a cup of coffee. It doesn't have to be this big thing, but you need to make sure that you're getting in front of people. And I'm going to tell you this, like we all have innate gifts. We all have superpowers. And one of the superpowers that I've learned to harness over the years, two things that have really, really, really been the keys to my success is to have confidence in yourself. You got to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you belong here. None of us are unique. None of us have, like, we all put our pants on one leg at a time. People that are high net worth luxury buyers and sellers are no different than we're all in this together. And you have to believe that you belong there. And people want to work with real estate agents who are confident in themselves and their abilities. So that's number one. You've got to be confident and you've got to have good listening skills. One of the best ways to influence people is to ask them good questions and to listen to them. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we should be disproportionately listening more than we talk, and we need to be paying attention to what they're saying. Most people are never heard. And when they feel heard, they feel valued. And when people feel valued, there is a trust that is built. And so this is really, really important when you sit down with people, especially in our markets where we have these higher price points, you have to believe in yourself, your ability, and you have to have the ability to listen with deep intention.
Yeah. You just said something really sharp there. You said most people are um, never heard.
Most
So
people
if you
are never.
so if you can be the person that hears them, you create a connection, and that's really good for business. I love that. Um, how frequently do you send an email to your SOI? Like how frequently are they hearing from you in a systematic way via email?
Once a month. It's
Okay.
and this is something I've learned. I believe this. I think email is overwhelming. We get so much spam. We get so many emails a day.
Yeah.
And even as we talk about AI, Russ, and social media, I truly believe this, that more than any time in history, people are craving connection.
Yeah.
People feel isolated. People don't spend enough time checking in with their neighbors, with their friends, their family. And so even though I do, and I just send what's called a neighborhood nurture, they get a market report on what's going on in their neighborhood once a month.
Yeah.
But I make it really, really intentional to go through command and keep track of who haven't I sat with in a while, and face-to-face communication. And I'm not one for small talk. We get into it. We talk about the hard things, the good things, the wins, the failures, what's working in life, what's not working in life. And again, just to reiterate it, there's I never go into these conversations expecting to talk about real estate, because I truly am more concerned about what's going on in their life, and they're
Yeah.
concerned about what's going on in my life. And ultimately, real estate conversations come up. So email campaigns are good, but I think we're going to see a pivot and a shift back to, I think James Shaw even said it. Like, I think mail's coming back, handwritten cards I send out. I mean, here's one that I just wrote this morning. Like, every day I write a handwritten card. I write 5 or 10 of these a day. I mail them to people.
Yeah.
Real authentic communications coming back.
Yeah. Um, the last law of the database, is build a database, feed it daily, systematically communicate it with it. And the last law is service the leads that come your way. When someone raises their hand, and we've only got a couple minutes left, when somebody raises their hand about real estate, what's the process look like from that moment?
Yeah. Depends what they're buyer or seller. But again, going back to communication and superpowers, it's, we got a lot of the Phil Jones in the last few years, and I think a few of us kind of got sick of them. But like, exactly
Yeah.
what to say, if you guys haven't read this book, um, it's just asking questions, Russ. When they raise their hand, the first, like if they're a buyer, for example, I will just ask them open-minded, open-ended questions. Hey, Russ, you want to buy a home? Tell me what that looks like. As simple as that. What does that look like? Let them talk. Make notes. Hey, is it okay? I'm going to pull my phone out. I'm just going to take some notes. What does that home look like to you? Here's something else that's important. When somebody starts telling you what their home looks like, this is really important in the luxury market. I never ask a buyer ever what their price point is, because they're sophisticated enough and they know what's going on. If they say, you know what, it's got to be a single family home and it's ski in and ski out, they've got the money. I don't need to ask them what their budget is.
Right.
Ask questions, and you want to understand the scope of what they're looking for by asking good questions. And then my follow-up with them is merely finding exactly what they told me, because I listened to them, I connected with them, and being detail oriented to find them what they're looking at. And I make sure that I communicate with them on a weekly basis, give them updates, and get them to the closing table.
Yeah. Ryan, for those listening today, who would like to re-engage or better engage their database, what's one quick tip that they should focus on right now?
So simple. You have got to pick up the phone. Guys, you have to pick up the phone. And especially, I know that we have this self-limiting belief sometimes that we feel like we're bothering people.
Yeah.
The reality is, we are never bothering people when we're coming from a place of service.
Yeah.
When we come to them because we have genuine care and comfort for them, like we want to like really, really pour into their lives and understand who they are and what's going on with them, I'm telling you, you're going to win. You have to make it about them, because it's never about us. It's never about the payday. It's never about what we can get out of this. It's what they are gaining from us serving them. You have to pick up your phone, and even text is fine, but you have got to pick up your phone. It's the most important thing. It's so important.
Keller Williams does a survey somewhat frequently of communication methods from our top agents. And folks, if you think about this, we're a company of about 140,000 people. And, and I hate to share these numbers, but when you have a mass of agents that is that large, a good 60% of them aren't selling anything, right? Like we all know this to be true. We see it in our own markets. The law of 80/20 is very alive and real. But when you take those 40% that do sell something, only 3% of them, of the people that sell, are calling their clients at least quarterly. Only 3% of the people actually in production are calling their clients at least quarterly. Like if you want to stand out, to Ryan's point, pick up your telephone and have a real authentic conversation with your people. It'll change the game. It'll change your income. It'll change everything. Ryan, thanks for sharing today.
Yeah.
Hey, next week we've got Richard Schulman, top agent from Beverly Hills, California. He is not specifically a luxury agent. So don't let the Beverly Hills thing trigger you. He sells a ton of houses in the LA area. Brandy Lobker from Longboat Key, Sarasota, Venice, California, Florida. She's going to be talking on the 19th. She is a luxury agent. She is going to be talking about luxury, and she's going to be talking about how she's built an amazing business. See you next week. Hope you got something out of today. Thanks, Ryan. And thank you all for being here.
Thanks, Ryan.